allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Eric, roll call, please.
Keith Gendry,
Here.
Ron Collins.
Yes.
Roland Curl. Mitch Downs.
Here.
Brett DeRoche.
Here.
Roland Goodrich.
Here.
Brian Marks.
Here.
McNeely Rowe.
Present.
And Mark Davis. Mr. President, we have to go.
Okay, guys, you've been presented with the minutes of last month's meeting. Can you entertain a motion? Moved by Mitch, second by Brett, that we accept our minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, President's report. The only thing I have, we'll go over that a little bit in the financials, but we received the monies from FEMA for the debris cleanup. We've paid off our bonds, so we did that fairly quick. Good job to Linda, Mary, and Amy. We appreciate that. Okay, audience comments. Anybody here to address the audience? Mr. Dean Salwa? Get right here. Where you going?
My name is Dean Salwa. I'm a candidate for Greater Lafourche Port Commission seat E. I'm a long life resident of the 10th Ward, born and raised down here. My parents are Ernest and Dolores Salwa. From now until March 18th, they have an early voting at the LaRose Civic Center. That's key. Everybody don't know where the early voting is. It's at the LaRose Civic Center until Saturday. I appreciate your vote and support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Executive committee.
That's okay, I've been overlooked. More reported than the council. All right, sorry, Mr. Ronald for executive committee.
I heard that. Executive committee met on March the 6th. Items were discussed with the finances, and the board Mr. Curl informed the board that several projects would be funded through CPA Gomesa funds, but there could be a balance forward that the levy district would need to pay. These amounts were estimated to be LaRose flood wall impact barrier $300,000, reconnection of Brett Canal to Lafourche $700,000, C North levee improvement $200,000, E North levee $200,000, Section F berm $200,000, D North ramp $200,000, and the Lee Ontario lock and loop flood wall, the Gobi mats $377,240 for a total of $2.2 million. It is recommended, we recommended as projects and the costs be brought to the board for considering to assign firms to cover in excess amount for each project. This, we need a motion to bring this up, so like, a person would like to move to that thing.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our executive chairman to get the board to approve the assignment of these projects. Second by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We also reviewed the statement of probable cause that was presented by Presione Associates. After discussion, we suggested two options offered. The first option would bring the ground elevation to plus 18 feet at a total estimated cost of $3,399,129. The second option would bring the ground elevation 18 plus feet at the total cost estimate of $5.568 million. The difference between the two is whether we can harvest the material on site or whether we have to truck it in. The higher amount if we have to truck it in. This was unanimously agreed to continue this and to pay the rules by East-West levy crown. Also, the right-of-way, the Corps of Engineers requested the right-of-way, which we recommend that we grant this right-of-way.
Okay, you heard a motion by our executive committee chairman, second by Mr. Roland Goodrich. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. Good.
Thank you. Make sure I'm down the line. General manager report.
Slide presentation.
We've been working on the pump stations, you know, the outer protection was blown away during the storm. Since then, we've been decided. But I'm not sure the work our guys are doing now. This is the oldest pump station we have. It was in 1978. It's a little one near the lock in Golden Meadow. And our people are going in and taking these shots and made it go in. So those have been there since 1978. You can see before and after. And the guys are taking care of the inside as well as outside. I mean, we did the inside first, got everything back in shape. But we're in the best shape that we've been, you know, after Ida did so much damage to us. With the repairs that we've done, the repairs made us better than we were before. And I don't think the levee's been in as good shape ever as it had now. Now, this is one of the projects we're doing. This is the ramp that y'all authorized in D North. We're raising the ramp of the loop road as it crosses the levee. We had to do an optic fiber cable that loop had. We had to relocate it. They put it on the side and work with us on getting that done. Okay. And then we trying to keep the costs down, which has been real high the last 2 times we tried to bid. We had a contractor come in and lift the material out there, okay? And they got to work to start preparing the dirt to be part of the foundation of raising that ramp. Keep going. All right, and this is the intersection we had. This is over the top by Hurricane Ida. We had a wave action. We brought a lot of debris on the other side. We're lifting this up, and this is one part of the contract. We're now getting ready to open the bids. The second part is actually going to shape it and bring it. Is that about what's that 16-foot elevation we're going? 16. 16. Yeah. And that's a bid that we've used on the Island property before, and we reuse it. So some of that will be raised right there, and then the rest will be brought just a contiguous little segment of that it has. This is the elevation of the road going toward Levee. The elevated highway is at 21-foot elevation. But all the steel that you see, the bridge is a concrete bridge, all right? So all that steel is just to get the machines to be able to work, and that will all be taken down. The bridge itself is going to be concrete, except for the part right here. We're going to have it's a T-wall going underneath the bridge. The levee right here is up to 17. The wall is going to be up to 20 feet. So it's not going to be a big rise, but you could maintain right underneath the road. It's going to be right over the levee, so that eye wall is going to be there, and that'll take care of any maintenance issues, which we won't have because the T-wall is there. Okay, and there's a T-wall extending into the eye wall that's going to extend the entire levee. And they've been moving along pretty well with this thing, and we see no problem at all as we once they get to completion. Right. This is that same area. The storm did knock out a lot of the marsh, but a fair amount did withstand the storm. Giving out a few yards of it to the right. Okay, you can see the bridge here. This is just south of where LA1 breaks into 3235. We had an inside corner, so we raised the levee. You can see another 3 feet. You do get some refraction as the surge comes in, and that's paid off in other places we had, so we went a little bit higher on this side. The levee is about 17 in a lot of areas. That's why we're looking at bringing everything total at 17 or 18, and the other side try to go 18 if we can afford it. That's a corner that he eroded a lot. The debris got pushed in, so it actually formed a little bit of a buff in the place that we needed. So that was a good thing that happened from the storm. About the only good thing. The other thing, the goby mats. On this side of LA1, we had these goby mats that were placed for the water line that went to Fouchon, that the water district did. Our goby mats on the opposite side, the east side of the bayou, they were taken off by the storm. Also talked to some core people in the Jacksonville office along with the Jones office. And they said they had problems with making sure the Gobi mats stayed in place with powerful storms, and this stayed in place. So the two things about it that looked very promising is that it was a very sharp slope on the incline, and of course, to me, I think the factor was that we got grass growing in between the mats that kept them in place. So this is going to be the hope and design as we go forward when we use Gobi mats. Okay. This is CSOP. This is just there's a lot of different type of work going on CSOP. We've been working there since 8 months before Hurricane Ida hit. Still not completed. Been talking to Neil. We are hoping to get it done in the next 2 or 3 months. Some of the employees over there say they think it's going to take 6 to 8 months. We just hope it's done in time before we get to August 15th, the serious part of hurricane season. But there is a lot of work going on, a lot of work needs to get done. They've got the stockpile material, some portion of the levee, you have grass road that hadn't been totally shaped. Here's another place that the inside has not been shaped and it has to be shaped. You notice we have a lot of shells, and this is, a lot of our levee does have shell in it. The Corps usually writes us up when they see shell in the dirt. They want pure clay. But we had the Jacksonville group come in, and they said that shells help not have penetration. They said that when you look at a levee 10 feet wide and you have the shells dispersed in there, they form a barrier to having piping going through the levee. Now the key thing is you don't want to have shell touching shell where you can get water seeping through. But this has worked out, and the Jacksonville people seem like it wasn't a problem. They're part of that group that you're given the authority to do the surveying with. That's who's doing the work on that. Okay. Again, another part that has been shaped. Now it's shaped on both. This is a shaped levee. It's up to 18 feet. You see a little bit dirt. It's up on the right side. But you see the problem we have on the unprotected side. As we took off the debris from the top of our levee, it just went below the water level. I have Neil coming up with some plans to go ahead and get this thing filled in. But even though it looks bad, the levee is real solid and didn't have any problems with the storm. Okay, this is where we head to C North. We raised the levee to 18 feet, but once you get to here, we've gotten past the levee that we have at the farm, that's Dufresne's farm. And of course, Morganza has been increasing the height there. So we saw in the storm that even with just a little 8-foot levee that Morganza has, we had a real big drop off. You went from about a 10-foot elevation to 5-foot elevations. So we're going to about 16 feet here till you get to the bridge. And then we're building up right now to a 14-foot elevation above. And you can see the work going on back to the bridge. Great material on this side. Keep going. Now, the way we do things, of course, is if we can afford to do this, we try not to cover what's been settling for a long, long time and compact it. So we kind of move the center line of the levee a little bit to the inside. That way we don't have to disturb the outside. We get the elevation we want, we get the strength that we want, and we have a compacted levee with grass that stays as strong and doesn't get weakened by having good material on and try to compact it out there. All right. You can see that we have the top of the levee, of course, we're reshaping the inside as we move the center line further back. But again, it's a great material. We have a ridge, a Manuel ridge under there, so it's no problem at all. We have a very small borrow canal. When you have good material, the borrow canal can be smaller, and you get levee stays tight. There's the intersection of the levee, which we have 3 pipelines and 3 walls up there. The walls we built all to 13. When we put the walls in, our elevation was supposed to be just 8 feet, and talked to the engineers and said, look, it won't cost much more to go to 13. They did, and I'm glad we did go to 13, and now we have the protection won't have to do anymore. We did add an A-frame to the back of the sheets after Katrina, as the Corps had recommended all eye walls needed to be strengthened. And you can see how good the material is coming out of that ball now. And that's some more work, and, again, we're gonna go, all the way to, LA 24 with this. And if I had to point it, but our point is not working, but we basically, if you look to where the brine storage reservoir is, and you can see the road coming from LA 308, that's where we're doing the elevation there. Then if you look just south of there is where, D north and D south meet, is where we're raising the levee where we had some overtopping. And of course, along the roadway on the behind over the meadow is where the levee's going across. I'm sure y'all seen it as y'all going 32, 35. Any questions on the slides? Okay, again, we talked about AIDS and the risk, we moved it, yeah, the recommendation that, I think y'all talked about is getting PCO and associates to do AEs and A West, looking at Angela and Angela Design. And I believe they'll talk about having them take that contract. We'll see how that goes. The right-of-way request from the Corps, y'all approved that. I talked to Chris Dunn, he's the head of engineering for the Corps, and I've been asking the Corps to relook at their design of levees, because the levees for hurricane were taken from the direct design from the river levees. River levees have to hold the water back 6 months. Hurricane levees, 12 hours at the most, except for rare occurrences, all right? So we think the design might look a little bit different if you did a study on it, haven't done a study on it. And he said, some of the issues after Katrina, they kind of went overboard with some of the standards. So they have backed some off already. And he said, I encourage them to at least look at and study our system and say, why did it work when they said it wouldn't work? And he said they hope to do that. Now, if they do, we think will help all the other levee systems except for the New Orleans area. You see, Terrebonne, I talked to Mitch Mormon. Mitch, I asked Mitch, I said, Mitch, with the standards, y'all are following the core standards. If we would have followed the core standards, what do you think would happen? He said your levees would probably be 5 feet lower. That's the kind of extra cost with the compaction that we don't think is needed. That whole issue with compaction started for some levees in Arkansas, where they built the levee that very stiff soil and had some air pockets. So they figured out if you put just certain bulldozer over 5 times, you compact it. We have soft soils. Our only concern is to look at the organics and look at sand and shells. That's what you look at. I really don't believe that. But anyway, hopefully they'll do the science and we'll find out if that's correct. But if we are correct, it's going to let a lot of people have a lot more flood protection. Because court-made building levees are a lot more expensive after Katrina. So, and I believe we need more levees. So the higher the cost, less levees you have. Less cost, more levees. So we'll see. Hopefully they will do the study, and hopefully it helps out the rest of the coast of Louisiana. Budget. You see the budget. We have to propose our budget for the fiscal year coming up on July 1. July 1. We got to be 3 months ahead of time. What you'll see is that this is what we know we're going to be spending some money on all of these projects before in that year. Okay. As we go through the year, though, we can go and amend the budget and correct it. There's a lot of money we put aside if we can move forward on the East and West. We'll be able to go include that in the budget when we need to, about a month before the year starts. But basically, it's just a general budget so you can show that you have a plan for that money. So we need to all approve that proposed budget.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of our general manager to approve our 2024 proposed budget. Moved by Mr. Ron, second by Mac. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
One of the low spots that we've had water overtopping back even for Rita was the Clover area, section E North. And we are now out advertising for bid, by Joe.
Yes.
as of today.
Yeah, and this bid is just gonna be to move the material to the base of the levee. And once we have that done, then we'll look at advertising that for construction and raising the levee, with that material.
So our biggest threat winter was on the east side and the north and.
Well, for this storm, I mean, that's what we had, okay? So, the one thing you watch for, you don't wanna just build for the last storm, because the next storm could be completely different. If you notice, when you check the satellite surveys, we have the west side a lot higher, a lot further, we go all the way to the form, because we had pass on the critical path for one of the critical paths, but it went basically southwest, northeast, and we had the bad situation on the west side, but it actually caused more problems on our east side, especially where you had the acute angles. But if you had a storm, and we talked about 10% will come from southwest to northeast. And the Barataria Terrebonne is so open with that kind of circulation, and if that angle hits, we'll almost have a perpendicular hit on that side of the levee, and that would be the highest amount of water that we think we could have. That's why we've done it that way. But we still have to keep looking at the east side, because we've had some issues, and we are taking those as we go. Of course, the highest water always is in the southern part. That's why we took care of the biggest threats to the north. Now we're coming back to the south and starting to build the southern part, the bow of the boat basically, and make sure we get it to the maximum. And continue making improvements on the Clover area, and also in the area of Loop. We have two good ridges, and we have the Blind Sword Reservoir, but there's still some openings there that the tide got really high for the summer. So we're going to be doing a couple of low projects in there to help. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
The bond loan payoff, we got to thank All South. They worked with us trying to get that money spent, get the money back from FEMA, so we could close out that bond. Okay, so we finally got the big check. Got it like 2 days before we had to pay the interest. Yeah. Amy and Mary worked real hard, made the phone calls, called the state to make sure that our money would move in time, called the bank, and basically we would start a new interest period after March, in the work, March the 1st. March the 1st, for the check over there, and we had to call the bank, they were ready. So we saved about $96,000. We only paid 1 year. It's two payments, 2 6-month payments. So we paid $149,000 in interest. It was a $4,700,000 loan, and by hitting on that year, we saved $69,000. So thank you all for the work, and y'all each get a cut. Sign the check. And also, just to mention, Dennis Gidry had emailed me because he wrote an article and wanted to review it. And so I reviewed it, and then he went back and he said he wanted to, Dick said, and Dick did a lot of work in Solitude. Dick said he was the most, Dennis told me that Dick told the family, he was most proud of the work of the levee district and getting the levee built. That's the proudest project that he pushed forward, okay? And of course, he served on the board, but he just wanted to be clear that he told the kids that he was proud, and Dennis wanted me to get a copy of all to thank you all for all the work. And a little bit later, I'm going to talk about all the different boards before we end. But right now, I'll finish.
Okay. All right, engineers, CPRA, Daniel, you have anything to report?
Just a quick note. I was told that all the South Lafourche design packages that have been submitted, all those reviews have been completed by CPRA except the LaRose Ted just there locked. That's the only one remaining, but that's good. So.
Yeah, and just to back up, there's been we have 5 projects lined up to go. We've been waiting for all the little dotting and lines and crossing the T's. So we should have a good bit of work started within the next 3 to 4 months.
That's it.
Okay. Corps of Engineers, anybody here from the Corps of Engineers? All I will move on to project engineers, Pisciol and Associates. Joe?
Okay, on the LaRose Lock project, remember, the only problem we have now is getting Corps of Engineer approval. And they've reviewed all of our design documents, and they have one last problem, that's the control house. So we're working on the design to separate the control house from the old structure. And we should be finished within the next week or two, and it will submit it to the Corps and CPRA for final approval. On section E, North Levee improvements, is the one Wendell just talked about. We have CPRA approval, our plans and specifications are complete, and we started advertising today. We will accept bids on April the 11th. The proposed top of the levee elevation is +14. Hurricane Ida storm damages, repairs to the pump stations and floodgates. Grand Isle Shipyard is the contractor. He's complete with all the structural metal work for the project. He's still working on some loose ends, mostly electrical work at the different pump stations and the floodgates. We are having a meeting with him tomorrow to discuss progress and hopefully get a schedule to complete the project. There's no pay application this month for this project. Hurricane Ida storm damage repairs to the main office. Grand Isle Shipyard's a contractor. He's completed roughing in the electrical and the air conditioning ductwork. He should be starting to work on the exterior hardy siding and then start closing in some of the interior walls. They're also working on doors and windows. He's still got a work schedule to be complete in May, but he's got to get more work done to get it done on time. We do have pay application number 3 submitted in the amount of $37,766.25, and we recommend you pay that.
Okay, gentlemen, we've heard the recommendation of the engineer. Pay GIS contractors, pay request number 3 in the amount of $37,766.25. Moved by Roman Kiro, second by Brett. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Hurricane Ida storm damage repairs to the mechanic shop. Frisco Industrial Contractors, the contractor, all the work is completed. He has substantial completion and we're in the lien period. There's no pay application this month for this project. On section D North Levee, the excavation part, Outer Limit Contractors is the contractor. That project is complete and also in the lien period. There's no pay application this month for that project. As Wendell alluded, we are advertising right now for bids on the shaping, grading and shaping, taking that material, putting it into the crown of the levee at a +16. We'll accept bids on March the 29th at 10 a.m. for that project. And we also have repairs to the Lee, Ontario lock flood wall and the loop flood wall. That's the revetment mats we plan on putting. We had bid it once during about 6 months ago, and the prices came out really, really high. We did receive 7 bids on February 28th. Circle LLC was a little bidder in the amount of $377,240 even, and we recommend that you award that project.
Joe, how did that compare to the previous?
It was about half. And then we're gonna put in some open cell revetment mats here at the lock, at the abutment of the A-frame wall, and also at the loop eye wall just down the way. That will be done the similar way that was done at the water line that's crossing. We also have storm damage repairs to D South and A East levee. This is a project where they were grading and shaping the crown. Campo and Sons is the contractor. He's still working on A East right now. He's completed a section of D South. We do have invoice number 1117 in the amount of $16,115 even, and we recommend that you pay that.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our engineer to pay invoice 1117 to Compo and Sons in amount of $16,115. Moved by Mr. Ronald, second by Brett. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Did we ever approve the?
No, the low bid, we need to approve the low
We
bid.
got it.
The board needs to-
And that's just approved the bid.
Right.
Okay. You've heard the recommendation of our engineers to accept the bid from Circle Construction. Moved by Brian, second by Mr. Roland Guidry. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
So,
Any questions for Joe?
thank you.
GIS, John? John.
Or Laura?
All right, so the first project update is the Levee East Bayou Lafourche water retention. The design is complete on that one. The outstanding items are we're coordinating with DNR to extend the permit. We have one letter of no objection from Chevron that we are waiting to get, and I think all our pipelines have been cleared. And then certitude, so just a reminder, that's going to be, the proposed elevation of that retention is a +3. So we're hoping to kind of get all these outstanding items wrapped up maybe this year, so we can go out to bid early next year, if not sooner. Second project update is D North Ramp. So that was awarded to LA Contracting. They did get the notice to proceed February 13th. There is no payout for this month. To date, they started clearing and grubbing, and then Wendell had a picture earlier. They did a temporary fiber optic relocation so that the contractor wasn't at risk of hitting that fiber optic to the new facility. Let's see. Yeah, and the proposed elevation for this one, we are coming back in a future contract to do the paving, and that will be up to elevation +16, so this will be just short of 16. All right, and then last update, reconnection of Breton Canal to Bayou Lafourche. So that is, right, so we split that, the bids came in high, over budget on that one, and so we separated the contract. The first action item is Drake and team are going to clean out Breton Canal. I think the first step to that is coordination with the islands. So that's the current.
Yeah, that would go.
Yeah, I got on the phone with the Allens, or Senator Allen and his attorney, and we are gonna put together a little addendum to the previous agreement. Once I have that confirmed with GIS on some of the plan specifics, I'm gonna get it to Wendell, get that approved through them, and then we'll be ready to go with the siphon.
And what exactly is gonna happen right there?
Well, siphon,
The
we're
siphon.
doing a siphon similar to what we have at pump station number 6, or not, number 4. But, yeah, and so be able to utilize pump station number 6 to help out. If we get another set of siphons, if it works like it's worked before, right now we're controlling about 2/10 of a foot every 24 hours. We can go to 4/10, a lot more control, a lot less interference for our boats having to wait. You know, we've been out, with the lock, we pass boats through, but then the rolls, if it's too high, we just gotta keep it shut. So that will eliminate most of that, and we've been improving now. Once we get in place, it's really gonna give us some control.
Good. Okay.
So for your approval today, we have submitted a revised contract for engineering services. Questions? I do recommend that you approve the proposal.
Good boy, John. You can hide John the paper back there. Jesus Christ.
All right. Okay, gentlemen, there's a recommendation of the engineer to approve our contract, of course. Moved by Brett, second by Mitch.
Oh, Lord.
All in favor? Opposed? Go figure, Mitch.
Yeah, hey, you put that, I see some stuff I'm gonna review with DOT or $1,000,000 sense. I'm gonna sit down and
Okay.
see what y'all actually.
Is that it, Laura?
Yeah.
Thank you, Laura. Angela Design, LLC, all right.
All right, on the Sea-South levee reshaping and compaction, that contractor is Grand Isle Shipyard. They're continuing working to raise that levee up to +18 from pump station number 2, which is the Basin pump station, all the way north to the Apache Farm. We estimate that project's gonna be complete in about 2 to 3 months. I did have a meeting last week with the contractor to make sure that they were bringing enough equipment in to meet that timeline. Emphasize to them, the sensitivity of hurricane season approaching. They did bring in some additional equipment on the north side of the project. In addition to what you see here, they're working on the southern end of the project, still shaping. But right now, our focus is to start working on the north, to do final shaping and working our way south. There's a lot of area north of the shooting range that just needs a little bit of attention, and then we can go ahead and seed it and get that done, and then focus on wrapping up the south side of the project. So.
Now, I knew you mentioned the shooting range. This survey crew is gonna come in, we give them the rights of way, and we have total control everywhere in the levee system, except behind the shooting range. And that's one thing we'll try to work out, that it won't be a problem, but bottom line is, they're gonna wanna go when they wanna go, and it's a possible problem, but we'll do it as we go.
And that's the group from the Corps, right? The survey group from the Corps of Engineers
Yeah.
coming in.
We're supposed to have total control of our right of way, that's the one place that we don't have total.
Like that, bro.
Come
Come on, bro. I don't wanna fight that fight. Fight that fight, it's expensive. That's the work back there, these guys should, they shouldn't even be allowed there. I mean, I see pistols and stuff, not rifles shooting. When they give me a black robe, I'll let you know. Oh, I go to the sections in the world.
Well, no, in fact, the one thing, disappointment we had, the first time we dealt with this issue, the Corps should have got involved. It's their right of way, they asked us to get the right of way, and nothing has changed, and yet, here they're trying to do some surveying, and it's gonna be an issue for them, and they will get in at this time.
Yeah, maybe this issue will raise some light somewhere. They say, well, we can't do our survey. Let's look into this further.
We will deal with the issue, and the survey will take place, and we will continue to improve the levy. And I do want to say these people have been cooperative with us in trying to, we've been able to avoid the problems, but we're coming up to trying to finish this job on Sea-South, which means a lot of work right behind where the shooting range is, and the levee is about 4 feet lower on shooting range than the rest of the levee, so we're just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is work through a solution that doesn't cost the taxpayer any more per yard to focus that area. So Wendell and I think as long as we can do that, then shooting range is cooperating, is fair to the taxpayer. When we have to start spending, an exorbitant amount of money to deal with that one area, then I think it becomes another issue.
Yeah, what I'd say, we don't be spending $1 of the taxpayers' money to have the right for us to go out work and have the Corps do the survey, and we'll go from there.
So the next project is the Sea North levee improvements. That contractor, Compo & Sons, is continuing to work to raise that levee up to 13.5 from the north side of Apache Farm, all the way out to Highway 24. We're recommending approval of their invoice number 1116 in the amount of $94,125.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our engineer to pay invoice 1116 in the amount of $94,125 to Compo & Sons. Moved by Mr. Ronald, second by Roland Curall. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Neil, I have a question. What's the total amount estimated of that?
I think Wendell and I talked about that a few weeks ago. I think it's around $230,000.
About half of it.
Yes, sir. On the Sea-South flood side repairs, this is again from the Basin pump station number 2, all the way to the south side of Apache Farm. As Wendell showed, there's some sections of where debris from the hurricane had destroyed some of the marsh just at the toe of the levee. So we need to bring in some material. Grand Isle Shipyard, along with Compo & Sons, both worked on the first phase of this project. Both did a good job on that. And now we're working towards some solutions on bringing in fill. We think it's going to be a combination of a private borrow pit that we're currently negotiating, along with some material that's still available in the C North area of Bar Canal. So work on that should actually start, I think, tomorrow. Drake and I are looking at some of those areas, and then probably with a borrow pit hopefully in the next couple of weeks. On the Yankee Canal in Section A East erosion repair, Grand Isle Shipyard is the contractor on that. They started work a few months back. With the low water situation in the river, they had an issue with getting riprap to the project. So they did a great job getting the first round of material out there, but we do have a good bit of material left to put. I did visit with the contractor on timing with this. They expect to have another barge of material to their yard in LaRose within the next 10 days, and then a final barge load of material that they need within about a week or two after that. So once they get that material, based on the pace they did so far, they should be able to finish this work in about 4 weeks. So we think the next 2 to 3 weeks they'll be able to start, and then about 4 weeks to get it completed. What they're doing right now is they'd like to get enough material at their yard to justify getting all the equipment back out there in full. So they do have a lot. If you notice that at the yard on the roads, there's a lot of big riprap there. That's for this project.
So we're kind of going all the way to the end?
Yeah, it's going just right off the page here. So not all the way to Bayou Lafourche. As you get off the top of the page, there's still a lot of good marsh protecting all that wave action that we're seeing cause erosion on the rest of the page.
South winds are the biggest problem on both ends,
Yeah.
over the rock. But, and we want to take a look at the rocks, but we think foul is probably the most cost effective in the other areas. That it's just, it was so severe here, so critical, that spend a little extra money to do this.
Right. So the next project is the Rose Flood Wall Vessel Impact Barrier. Received all the permits on this project. We submitted plans and specifications to CPRA, who was providing the majority of the funding for this. As Daniel reported, I think that the review is complete, so we should be getting the final approval any day now to begin advertising on that project. And the last project is the Section F berm. This is a similar situation with CPRA. As Daniel reported, I think they're complete with their review, ready to give us approval, so within the next week we should get approval to begin advertising on this.
You know, sorry, anything about, north, the berm issue, where are we? Trying to take care of the outside berm.
So that, yeah, on that project, that's the one right now that Drake and I are looking at tomorrow. I think we've got a contractor lined up to start taking material from the inside canal on the C North area, and then we're still looking at an alternate source to their private borrow pit. Yeah. That's all.
Okay, any questions for Neil? Moving on to anybody from Delta Coast. And also.
Yes, sir. So for the Golden Meadow Terrace project and also the Reach K Terrace project, they're currently on hold and awaiting funding from grants that were applied for. And, of course, Mr. Wendell already gave you the update for the debris removal. Majority of the reimbursements have been received.
Yeah, just have one more thing. We're still waiting on 1.7 million from FEMA. Well, that's just for all the different repair we did, both debris and some levee repair. But I say from FEMA, well, some of the folks, a portion of it's from FEMA, but the state is holding back about 20%, I believe, of that big check. So that's the majority of that 1.7 coming. Once the state sees that there are no more bills that anybody can claim off of the project. So we are going to see our the fund balance improve by 1.7, we expect, before the end of the year, which is good.
Anything else?
So,
Appreciate it. Any questions? Okay, legal permits right away, Mitch.
This month, we have a total of 4 permits. The first one is Greater Lafourche Port Commission. Second one is Perdido Energy Louisiana, LLC. The third one is Joseph Babin. And the fourth one is the South Lafourche Levee District. After reviewing these 4, we'd like the board to be approved, recommend the board to approve these.
Okay, I heard recommendation from the chairman of the permits committee that we approve these permits. Mack, second by Mr. Will Guidry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Finance Committee, Monty is not here today, but all invoices are approved and recommend we pay them. So, moved by Matt, second by Mitch. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Personnel Committee, again, Monty, Mitch, and Mr. Donald. Monty's not here, but I'll go over the meeting. Personnel Committee met, interviewed people for our opening of our general manager's position when Wendell decides to go home. But we've come up with a recommendation for the board, and it's Mr. Nick Mathern, who's seated to my right here, and I'm acting for a motion that we accept this appointment. Moved by Mr. Ronald, second by Brett. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You got it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Anything you want to say?
I guess I know most of the people in the room already, but just to introduce myself a little bit. I'm Nick Mathern, grew up in the South Lafourche area, graduated from South Lafourche High School of Nichols. Been knowing Wendell, fortunately or unfortunately, for about 15 years now, my professional career. He did hire me for my first job in government 15 years ago as Lafourche Parish Coastal Zone Management Permits Coordinator under then Parish President Charlotte Randolph. Became the department head under her leadership, and then went over to become the Director of Coastal Restoration for Terrebonne Parish under then Parish President Michel Claude. After that, made the jump to the private sector, worked for CB&I, later named Aptum. Worked on a few projects for not only you guys here at the Southwest Levee District, but also for Terrebonne Levee District, Lafourche Basin Levee District, and then most recently have been project manager at Burke Kleinpeter in New Orleans for the last 3 years. This most recent has been an interesting experience as an in-house contractor for the Corps of Engineers in their project management division. So it's been a very wide range of interesting things that I've been able to work on there, building on some of the existing relationships that I've established over the years. And so excited at this opportunity to be able to build even further on that and help the people right here in South Lafourche where I've grown up. Still have tons of family here, so I really appreciate y'all confidence in me, and I look forward to continuing the fantastic work y'all been doing all these years.
Introduce your family to us.
And all the way back, well, my wife is here, Sarah, supporting me. I will claim him today. My brother Brennan is also here supporting me.
Got a gun on him, you bet.
He does have a gun that you can call Sheriff Weber if you have any issues with that. But no, again, thank y'all for the support and all you guys. So thank y'all for the opportunity. I look forward to it.
Welcome. Appreciate it.
The suit, get the gold.
I've been warned I'm not allowed to wear a tie anymore.
And you forgot to sing and play music too on the side. That's right.
And I do. So we'll keep the music going. I'll try to do better on the jokes. Good. So
That's easy.
How can you not?
All right, any old business? Any old business?
Yes, I'm old business. Yeah. Again, my next meeting, I'm not gonna be doing this, but, when you look back, you know, the first president of the Lafourche the South Levee District, at that time it's called the South Louisiana Tidal Water Control Levee. That was it. And it was Nolte Terry, he was the first president. Second president was Anthony Gilbert. The third was Antoine Sheridan. The fourth was Leon Terry. Leon was the president that hired me. I can still remember. I really enjoyed my work with Sea Grant, you know, as a fisheries agent. But invited me to his house, and he had the personnel committee there. They offered me the job. I said, God, there's two things. You got 9 members. I can't work for 9 people. If you got the same vote, you got to work with it, because I can only work one person. You'll vote and tell Leon what you'll want, and I'll do that. Second, we have a lot of, be dealing with a lot of hard issues with people. and robbing, taking their property. I said, if we can't treat everybody the same, I can't do it. No favoritism, okay? Well, here I've been here 42 years, and the board's kept that up. So, I mentioned the board presidents, I didn't have to listen to all the members, but that's the one thing, you can only work as good as your boss lets you work. And the bosses here always had one thing in mind, keep water out of people's homes and businesses, and all decisions were based on that. So, thank you all for making it easy for me to work here. And I want to mention a couple of people in the field, and both of them, one is E.J. Roos. I think he might be my most valuable in the field. E.J. was a shrimper. Like he used to tell me, you know, shrimp, I don't know, he had shrimp boats for 25 years, and every 2 o'clock in the morning, he'd wake up, he would check the bill, and, you know, the stuffing box, where your shop is to the home. And he said, and he was working for me for a good time. He hadn't had the boat for 15 years. He said he still would wake up at 2 in the morning. Okay? Because that's how important it is not to let your boat sink. Well, that's the kind of person we want running things in the field. Not all 24/7, always thinking about what's the best thing to do. And he always enjoyed entertaining the employees, you know, always enjoyed cooking for them. But he didn't enjoy it, but he wouldn't back off. If somebody didn't do their job, he was down their throat. Okay, he understood how important this was. And then he's helping to put up some new mufflers at pump station number 2 on the bullet camp. And change it, and they had built a gooseneck to pulley up and hold the muffler with the next one up. And trying to hurry before lunch, they had to unscrew it and set it up to the next one. Unscrewed it, it started going over, 16 feet up. Now that's where they were working. He went to grab it. It pulled him over. It hit the ground. He hit the side of his chest against that metal plate. If I remember correctly, 16 breaks on one side. He went to the hospital, stayed off of work for 6 months, came back, and still, you know, because of all of that, every bump on the levee would hurt, but he was back at work and handled 200 head of cattle at the same time. So it was always there when we needed them there, you know. And that's the kind of people that made the difference. And, you know, we can't guarantee we're not going to flood, but we can guarantee that we made this place better every day, and the following day continue to make it better. And with that, with the determination and dedication that we've had with instances like that, we've had the success with that. Hard work and good luck you can't beat. But you need the good luck. Okay. Again, I want to thank you all for the opportunity here. The taxpayers, when they voted for those 2 taxes, when we doubled the millage in it was 96, and we had the 1 penny sales tax in 2006, that's the only reason we survived. We have not, we've been lucky enough to get money from the state and the feds, but it was not enough. Without that taxpayer money, every year we continue improving the levee, and that's what made the difference. So we were all in the same boat, and truly all in the same boat. And again, all the board members that served on this board, I think that's part of the reason why we've been able to get the support and success that we've had, because the community was behind it because they knew that. So I want to thank all of y'all. Appreciate it.
Okay.
May I?
Did I pass you up, all right?
You good?
I did. You have anything?
No.
Okay, that's why I passed you up. Okay, Mr. Rowe.
Yeah, first I want to congratulate you. Thank you for the 42 years you put in. And I hope you make 42. Out with the old and within you, God bless both of you.
Okay, next, any new business? New business. Executive session, I think.